Hi everyone, it's your favourite atomic blonde here. How you doing? Happy bank holiday here in the UK. Happy Memorial Day in America. I mean, I think technically May Day is the equivalent of our Memorial Day here, but we don't call it that. So yeah, one extra day off, which is much needed right now, as you all know, based on my stream last week or week before. Everything's very, very busy here right now. So again, sorry, not prepped, not really done anything, just jumping on. Called it sort of bit of Monday musing and just sort of catching up on what's been going on in the crazy world of pop culture and news, etc. So yeah, again, it's like, not much TV to review, unfortunately. There's just not much on. And again, when I look at the YouTube channels, the guys I normally follow, again, nobody's really reviewing anything, which is pretty telling. And obviously, there's a few films out at the moment. The Mad Max saga, Furiosa, and coming up to half term. So it's a bit of a strange one, really. It's a strange place to be in, where we're not getting new shows, and really all we can talk about is what's coming. As I did, like last week with Deadpool and Wolverine. I've bought my tickets for that, so I'm seeing that on the Saturday. In Leicester Square in London, so it cost me an arm and leg, but it'll be worth it. Seeing it on the big screen, and looking forward to that. And as I said, House of the Dragon, really looking forward to that. Cobra Kai final season. But in the meantime, what do we do? What do we watch? Let me know if you have any thoughts, recommendations. I started watching the 8 show. The Korean drama I mentioned. It's a bit slow, I will say. I haven't quite got into it. I'm on about episode 3 at the moment. Again, was very much pitched a sort of Squid Game-esque type setup, that you've got these people who have entered into this game show. 8 people, 8 floors. And what we've already found is depending on what floor you're on, you earn a certain amount of money per hour. And the longer you're in this game for, the more money you can make. Now, the reason most of these people here is because they've got financial problems and things like that. So they're trying to make as much money as possible. Some of them, so basically, it turns out if you're on the ground floor, you make like 10,000 won an hour. If you're on the 8th floor, it kind of adds all the money together. So that the woman who's on the 8th floor, who's an absolute head case, absolute nut job, is making the most money, and she's like spending all her money, but it doesn't matter because she makes it so quickly. And there's a correlation between what they spend and how much time they have in the game. And if they do certain things, it adds time back to the game. But again, you've got this crazy woman, you've got some very selfish people. And they basically realize if they run up and down the stairs, they got extra time in the game. And then the amount of time they were getting was starting to reduce. And then they basically figured out, because the audience was getting bored and they weren't that interested anymore. So it is interesting, but it just is a bit slow. Say episode 3, and nothing has really happened yet. You've got the poor guy on the 1st floor who has injured legs, has bad legs, so he can't do that much running up and down the stairs. So he said, well, you can all keep your rubbish, like their waste, in his room. And you can imagine what kind of waste. It's not just food, should we say that? So his room's like absolutely minging. He's got to that point where he can't even smell it anymore. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out, but it does need to pick up the pace. It is in English if you're not into your subtitles. As I say, I normally watch them in Korean, but at the moment, just lack of time and energy, I am watching the dub version. So we'll see where that one lands. But that's really the only thing. The other thing I've been watching, I can't remember if I mentioned it last time, is Tracker on Disney. I know those words came out of my mouth, but I think it's on like Hulu in America. So it's not like a Disney. It's one of the ones that's on our Stars channel, which is part of Disney here. The guy that stars in it, for those who are an old fart like me, remember Smallville. He played Oliver McQueen. So he was the Green Arrow in Smallville, not to be confused with Green Arrow, Stephen Amell. Stephen Hartley, I think his name is, or Steve Hartley. So yeah, he ended up marrying Chloe Sullivan's character, Alison Mack, in the show. But he was quite good. He was quite a good Oliver McQueen, actually. But so it's a bit of a weird one. It's one of those ones I watch it each week, and I can't quite work out why I'm watching it, because it's not that good. But apparently Jensen Ackles is going to be in it, and he's going to play his brother. So I keep watching it each week, waiting for Jensen to come on. I'm up to episode 9, and he's still not in it. So I think it's just a ploy. Yeah, but the reason I'm mentioning it is it's just such a throwback to, I'd say, early aughts TV. It's so he's a tracker, so he basically makes his money by earning rewards, you know, helping find missing people, things that have been stolen. Like one episode was a racehorse had been stolen, and it's like very procedural, but you know, it's also very modern. So there's 2 people that he works with who are like they basically help find the jobs and stuff. It's not very clear exactly what the relationship is between him and or how they know each other yet. That hasn't really been explained, or if it has, it went right over my head. Are middle-aged lesbians, which is like this really interesting dynamic. It's quite funny. One of them's obsessed with dogs, and they've got like all these like rescue dogs and things. And then like one of his best like techie friend, he has like no legs. He has artificial legs. So it is very Disney in that sense. But it's just such a throwback to like early noughts TV. So each week he gets a case, he goes, investigates it, obviously always solves it, gets the money, and it's very this sort of light-hearted, you know. I mean, there's not like an obscene amount of violence in it. There's no sex in it or anything like that. It might even more of a throwback to the 80s. Like sometimes when you're watching it, it's a bit like sort of watching an episode of the 18. It's kind of what it reminds me of, esque, you know. So they're all like good guys, and we've got this whole mystery that when he was a kid, he lived off grid with his dad. His mum wasn't in the picture. There was him and his brother and a sister, I think. So the brother is going to be played by Jensen Ackles, but we just kind of get flashbacks at the moment. And it looks like, or it appears that, so his dad seemed to have like some sort of mental health issue, hence why he was living off grid, some sort of, or it appears this way. But, you know, was he paranoid because he wasn't well, or was he paranoid because he needed to be paranoid? It's not completely clear. And so it appears in one of the flashbacks that his brother killed his father, but we don't know for definite. We have met his mother, and she seems to be hiding something. So there's this bigger sort of backstory that's going on. Like I say, you don't watch it and go, wow, that's a great piece of TV. It's really not. But it's one of those kind of comfort TV shows that, say, just takes me right back to the sort of, you know, watching, say, the A-Team or Airwolf or something like that. You know, just that sort of, as a family, you could sit down and watch it because it's not gratuitous violence. I mean, yes, he does have a gun, and you know, but you're not really seeing anybody like anything like gruesome. I don't think, from memory. There's a bit of fighting in there. You know, people do get beaten up and stuff. But yeah, it's just such a strange, odd show. Like in this day and age, it just like it's one foot sort of, say, in the modern era with you know, you can see they're ticking all the boxes, but the writing and the stories, as I say, are just really like, I don't, 80s, 90s, early noughts TV. So have a look. Tell me what you think. It's not good. But I just find myself watching it each week going, oh, there's a new episode of Tracker, I'll stick that on. Especially at the moment, like I say, I'm definitely zoning into no-brainer TV. So I haven't got to use my brain in the evening and think about anything too much where I'm so busy. But yes, this is really harmless kind of throwback show. So yeah, Disney Plus, unfortunately. I guess Hulu in the States. I don't know how many episodes. I mean, as it's Hulu, I don't know if it's going to be like a 20-odd episode like TV used to be, or like 10 episodes. But anyway, so I'm just mainly waiting for Jensen to turn up. So what can I say? Easily pleased. Anyway, cool. Yeah. What else? Gosh, yes. So in the YouTube sphere, there's a guy called Nick Ricator. He's got a channel, Ricator Law. I think he's been on like FNT. He's sort of known by the Fellowship, etc. But I sort of discovered his channel through that. But when he was covering the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, excuse me, and yeah, so I mean, because you couldn't really live stream it here in the UK. I think it might have been on Sky, I'm not sure. But anyway, I used to like tune in every day to his channel and watch this circus unfold. And obviously he's a lawyer. He had other lawyers on there, and they'll be explaining like what was going on and why the judge would overrule stuff or why stuff was allowed in, etc., etc. And it was completely addictive TV. I mean, I think this was like, it was after COVID, I think, but I might have still been. I might have been. It's all a bit of a blur, COVID, isn't it? But I was definitely like working from home, not going in the office. Hence why I could like have it on, and I like most put out with someone put a meeting. I have the trial on in the background kind of thing. But yeah, you know, he was a lawyer. You know, spoke very highly of his wife. He was called Lady Rackets, and you know, they seemed pretty solid. And I think they got like 5 kids or something ridiculous. So like, but again, very family man. Was always talking about that kind of stuff. And then this last week, as I was just flicking, and then I saw something come up saying like he'd I was watching It's a Gundam, which do, which was very, very funny. And things I'd done a core workout that morning, and my abs were absolutely killing me. It was so painful, and and I was just laughing at Gundam, and it was absolutely killing me. And I was just like laying there, like trying not to laugh, and it was just very, very funny. And then basically they went on to show this stream that Nick had up. I think it has been taken down, but he was absolutely off his gourd. And as things have played out, it certainly looked like he was more than just drunk, if you know what I mean. And it's certainly played out. That seems to be the case, that he was taking some illegal substances, and he did appear to be doing a bit of self-pleasuring, shall we say. But he was so out of it, he didn't realise the camera was still on, and then he kind of realised, is my camera still on? But you look at him, he's got that kind of, he's lost a lot of weight that you tend to see obviously with addicts, and he's sort of got that sweats on. I mean, he looked awful, and it's just so horrible to see. I mean, I'm not saying this because I like to laugh at the guy, or I mean, Gundam was talking about something that was very, very funny, and it's I'm not saying I was laughing at the Nick Recader situation, because I think it's terrible. Not judging at all. You know, we all have our vices, but just to see, you know, somebody who's obviously very highly educated, a family man, like doted on his kids, to see him what appears to be in the throes of addiction, you know, to the point that he doesn't even realize he could barely talk on stream, he could barely see, you know, he was like doing that whole kind of, you know, where you look at one eye when you're really, really drunk so you can try to focus kind of thing. It's just really, really sad. So yeah, he's on the back of this stream that's, you know, on various channels. Some, I think, a journalist or something called the police, saying like worried about his kids, understandably. So his house was raided. He got arrested. His wife got arrested, and their friend got arrested. Who's recently split up with her husband, and there's stories all around that as well, which I don't want to go into. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so he's facing some pretty serious charges. They found obviously drugs, but it seems like 25 grams or over 25 grams of cocaine / methamphetamine. Now, that's a lot of drugs. If you think that, you know, you watch any films, right? And if you know about this stuff, it's most people buy like 1 or 2 grams. Not a lot. Over 25 grams of cocaine is a lot of drugs, people, a lot of drugs. And I think due to, from what I've heard, you know, he signed a pretty big deal, potentially 6-figure deal, 7-figure deal with Rumble. He's clearly got a lot more money now. And unfortunately, that's obviously given him access to, because there's nothing that ever suggested he was doing drugs previously. He used to drink scotch on camera, but, you know, occasionally would get a little bit slurry, but he's not the first or last YouTuber that's ever done that. But yeah, so he's been arraigned, he's out on bail, and it's just heartbreaking to see, to be honest. Initially you're a bit like caught up in the spectacle of it, you're like, oh my god, what's going on? But actually it's just really, really tragic to see anybody in that state. So, you know, I can't say I know the guy, I only know him from seeing him on YouTube, but thoughts are with him. I hope he gets himself straight, and his wife, because she's obviously into drugs as well, and that his kids are okay, most importantly. Hopefully this is the wake-up call to sort himself out. But, you know, he's on the verge of losing everything. I mean, I assume if he gets a felony, he'll lose his law license as well. You can't be a practicing lawyer with a felony on your record. I'd assume. That seems pretty logical to me. So I feel for the guy. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no excuses. They were his choices. But when an addiction takes hold, it's sad and as we know, very self-destructive. So best wishes to Nick and his family. I hope this ends well for him, and he can get the help that he needs. So fingers crossed. I mean, I think it said like he could get up to 25 years in prison or $500,000 fine. I mean, it's just awful. At the end of the day, he's a father and he's got children and a wife, and so thoughts with Nick. Sort yourself out, dude. So I guess in the realms of sort of pop culture, it would not be a Atomic Blonde stream if I neglect to mention Disney, obviously. So man, the saga just rumbles on and on and on. I mean, the shares continue to tank. Universal is slaying Disney World in the parks. The money's not even coming in through the parks. I mean, when you see what they've done to Splash Mountain, it's like eek. It's like your most popular ride, but now you find it problematic and you've turned it into some crap ride because you haven't got enough money to refurbish it properly. It's painful to see. I've been to Orlando, been to Disney World a couple of times, and been on these rides. So it's sad to see. But as I keep saying, you keep telling 50% of your customers to do one because you regard them as bigots and everything else. This is kind of what happens, right? People have said enough. And the latest one this week, very interestingly. So after the whole, and I spoke a little bit on this when the proxy battle was going on, that obviously George Lucas appeared to support Iger in the proxy battle, proxy war, whatever you want to call it. And at the time I spoke about it saying, look, let's face it, George Lucas isn't the one voting with these shares, right? He's got a portfolio, he's got a wealth manager. I think his wife looks after all of that. Any statement that came out was unlikely. I mean, he probably would have known about it, but it was unlikely to have come from George. And the comments he made this week really kind of play that out. I mean, he put pay to all the rumors that he's coming back and making another Star Wars. He's like, nope, I'm retired, I'm done, and I don't blame him. What is it, 80 this year? Or just turned 80. He's like, no, I'm done, I'm retired. But he did go on to say, like, just how bad Disney Star Wars is now. They're just what most YouTubers have been saying. They're just completely incompetent. There's no imagination, there's no originality. They don't even understand what the Force is, or even if they do, they just bastardized it, to make it fit whatever they want them to fit. And it's just not his vision anymore. I think he was pretty much what he was saying. And but he also said, well, I sold it, I let go of it. So there's the breaks. But he was very, very vocal around what he thinks of where Star Wars has gone. And I think good on him. I mean, certainly at his age, at 80, if you can't say what you think, when can you, But it's a shame that, he can't, it is completely tarnishing. I'm not sure, I have to say, I'm not sure it does tarnish his legacy, because I think all of us have that division in our head between what is Star Wars and what is Disney Star Wars, the same as what is Marvel and what's Disney Marvel. We've got those divisions in our head, and actually we go, this point backwards, fine, this point forwards, don't bother. And I think most people have got that. So I like to think overall it doesn't destroy or diminish his legacy and the work he did. But certainly I think when parents are, as they do, or aunts and uncles and cousins and whatnot, go, oh, we're going to watch these films, they're going to stop, right? the prequels, OG, maybe Rogue One. I quite like Rogue One. That was all right. But then done, right? And out. So all of that, that's not Star Wars. Don't worry about that. And that's what's going to happen, and that's what's happening, and that's why nobody's watching it, right? So Ahsoka continues just to get downvotes, into oblivion. They released a plot point on the captions. It's like, geez, it's just an absolute farce what's going on over there. Yeah, but it's good to see George come out and just say what he thinks. Like I say, he's right. Good for him, I would say. Sorry, I've just got Windows popping up now because I just had to reboot my laptop because everything just crashed, and I really need to go reset the router. So I don't know how well the old video quality is, or sound for that matter, at the moment. So I'll just keep going. Just keep going. Oh dear. So talk like a bit of a coup, I guess. Again, people who watch this channel know I really enjoyed. I'm not a new Star Trek fan at all. Most of it is absolutely dire, and I can't watch it. It just kills too many brain cells for me. Picard season 3, Terry Matalis, absolutely loved it. Is it the best Star Trek ever made? No. Is it head and shoulders better than any of the dross we've had over the last from Kurtzman Trek? Hell yeah. Highly recommend that season. I've watched it multiple times. I have the steelbook. Unfortunately, to save money, they didn't film it in 4K, so the best we've got is Blu-ray, but hey, I can live with that. So it looks like, well, on the downside, it definitely looks like we are not getting Star Trek Legacy. If we are, it's not going to be from Terry Matalis. But I guess we all kind of knew that because it's a dead cert. It's something the fans want. So, of course, they're not going to give what the fans want because that's just secret hideout for you, isn't it, really? But that's fine. Paramount's now going bust and is being sold. So that's what happens when you don't give the customers what they want. But anyway, he's now been poached by Marvel, of all people, or Disney, which makes me sort of cringe inside. Like, oh. But he's rumoured to be writing the new, well, not rumoured, they've come out and said he's going to be writing the new Vision series, which I think is 2026, I think they said. So I'm like, oh God, Disney interferes with everything. Is he just going to be allowed to write and produce a good show? I hope so. But it's 50-50, when you've seen time and time again that good writers go to Disney and not that good stuff comes out. But fingers crossed to Terry. I love 12 Monkeys. There's a review on the channel for it. Go check that out. You'll find Todd Stashwick in it, a Deacon, who was obviously also in Picard season 3. I pre-ordered my EXO 6 figure of Liam Shaw. Can't wait to get that. Go in my Locutus of Borg. I'm like mildly optimistic because I know Terry's a good writer. It's just whether they let Terry write. And the things, when Terry goes, he tends to take his team with him. So a lot of the writers who were on 12 Monkeys with him also wrote episodes on Picard season 3. So they definitely work together. They work well as a team. And the aesthetic he brings is brilliant. So I'm really hoping he's allowed to make the show he wants to make. I think if he is, we'll probably get the first good show out of Marvel. So if I've heard X-Men 97 is pretty good. I haven't watched it. I used to watch the cartoon. It's always my hangover TV on a Sunday or a Saturday, Sunday here in the UK. Like after back in my younger clubbing days. A long time ago, 30 odd years or so. So I need to check that out. I have heard good things, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody's even trying now. Nobody's even giving things a go coming out of Disney Plus studios. And now they've sort of split it into Marvel Studios, Marvel TV, Marvel Animation, because hey, that'll make a difference. But good luck, Terry. That's all I have to say on that one. So maybe a couple of year break on the back of if Deadpool Wolverine's a good film, it might spur some interest. We'll see. We'll just have to see. So I'm just trying to find. because the next bit of news is obviously the I think it's infamous at this point Star Trek 4 film that JJ keeps announcing and never happens, and no one's spoken to the cast and nobody knows, anything about it. Is like, right, okay. Yeah, so Simon Kinberg is on board apparently as a producer, and that's what he does. He produces. Now, I was just faffing around on IMDb, so apologies. Yeah, this guy is so 50-50. He was producer on Legion. First couple of seasons were really good on that. Designated Survivor. Gifted, that wasn't bad. Again, like Deadpool 2. Star Wars Rebels, of all things. He's been Logan. Obviously, I really like Logan. But then he's also done the awful Fantastic Four, X-Men Apocalypse. That was dodgy, to say the least. X-Men Dark Phoenix, which was just atrocious. He was involved in the Jordan Peele The Twilight Zone, which was bad. The 355, which absolutely bombed. So in recent years, he hasn't had that many hits. The New Mutants, the 355. He's involved in Death on the Nile, A Haunting in Venice, and The Orient Express, the remakes of Kenneth Branagh on the Agatha Christie piece, which was good. I quite like those. They do what they say on the tin. Involved in Invasion. I think that's the one from Apple, which was awful. Well, not awful, but it just didn't really go anywhere. He had this whole invasion where you don't really see the invasion. But he has been involved in Sugar, which again is another Apple with Colin Farrell, which is meant to be very good. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. So being interesting to see. And he was also involved in The Martian as well with the Matt Damon, which is a great film. Yeah, very much looking forward to Hail Mary. Yeah, so a bit of a weird one, an odd one. I think unfortunately that's JJ's still involved with Star Trek 4 if it happens. But we're seeing Simon coming on board. Can he make it a good film? I don't know. But again, like none of the cast have approached, none of the cast have signed on. It's just become a bit of a standing joke. I think it's been announced about 5 times now, this Star Trek 4. Originally, we was going to have Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth reprising the role of Kirk's father, as he did in the first film. It's sort of more of a cameo. He's basically in it when he dies. Spoiler. Yeah, so who knows? Who knows whether this is going to go anywhere? Who knows whether it'll be good? Like I say, his track record is pretty 50-50. Sometimes we get a great film, sometimes not so much. Who knows? Who knows in the world of Hollywood if they can get anything off the ground right now? But after I just going on about mining IPs, everybody's just sort of sick to death of prequels and sequels and spin-offs. And as George was saying, there's no originality anymore. Where are the new filmmakers? Where are the new ideas? The fact you're still making sequels to films that the originals came out 40 years ago, getting on for 50 years ago, is insane. What kids sort of, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a handful. So, I mean, yeah, like, generally the kids know these films because my generation, parents have shown them to them, and there's nothing wrong with the whole family liking Star Wars or Star Trek, those kind of things. But generally, like if you're a teenage kid or young, a tween or whatever, and your parents like, oh, I'm really excited to go see this film. Do you want to be excited about going to see the same film as your parents? Probably not. They're going to want their own thing, right? They're like, oh God, why would I want to go see this film that my parents, went to go see as kids, or the sequel to something my parents like? It's just so uncool. Nobody likes what their parents like. I mean, you like bits and bobs because they show you it. Same with like music, you like bits and bobs, but you like your own music. You like the sound of now. And there's just nothing there. Whether it's TV show, whether it's films, where's the new stuff for the next generations? And if you get it right, yeah, we, you know, in my age can like it, appreciate it. But the kids get into it, they become the fans, right? And where are their franchises? Where are their IPs? There's just nothing for them. So you can see that kids are just getting switched off. They don't watch Marvel, they don't watch Star Wars, or even Star Trek for that. This modern audience doesn't exist. We know it doesn't exist. It certainly ain't them, because they're just like, I don't watch that 40-year-old show, whatever, you know. But and I keep saying it, and hopefully it's going to happen. You know, we're absolutely primed for the next thing, the new thing. If somebody will just take a chance and let somebody make it, rather than just constantly making everything based on algorithms and what the spreadsheet is saying. You know, Star Wars never would have got made if they relied solely on algorithms and spreadsheets, for crying out loud. Or any of the classics, like, you know, Blade Runner never would have got made. Alien never would have got made. You know, sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith and try a few things. But I just think the kids deserve their own IPs. They deserve something new, something their own, not watching what their parents watch, for crying out loud. And done badly as well. That's the thing. It's done badly. It's not even like it's done well. So the parents aren't watching it. The kids aren't watching it. Yeah, it's just, we just see dumpster fire after dumpster fire. I mean, Doctor Who this week saw a bit of an uplift in ratings, which I think everybody said would happen. Like, you know, even though the ratings were in the toilet for episode 3, Boom, by Stephen Moffat, I think quite a few people liked it, or certainly people said, oh, it's better than the first 2. I wouldn't say it's good necessarily, but it's definitely better than the first 2. So I think a lot of us said, oh, you'll probably see a bit of an uptick on ratings next week, because there's a bit of good word of mouth around Boom. And that's exactly what happened. It went back from 2.04 million to 2.62 million overnight, which is about what the first episode brought in, 2.6 million. So, you know, so all the excuses will start. So, like, see, we told you it was just because of bad weather, and we told you it was because of this. But by all accounts, I don't think this week's episode was particularly good. I've seen very mixed things about it. People don't like the way that Ruby behaved as a companion. You know, they said like none of the other companions would have behaved like that, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, because you don't want it to be a carbon copy of what came before, but it just doesn't ring true. It just doesn't feel like Doctor Who. So we'll have to wait and see. But what's always dodgy with the BBC, we haven't got the +7 ratings for Boom yet, which means they're really bad. Generally, that means they'll hang on to them and see how they can fudge them with putting in Disney Plus figures or something. I don't know, but the fact they haven't come out is always, you know they're up to something. So, and they're not going to be great. I can't see this season hitting over 5 million viewers, like 7 days +4. The most so far they've had is 4.01 million the first week, I think. But yeah, people are just switching off in droves. I think you'll see this, like, you know, this sort of peaks and troughs. If we get another good episode, you'll probably see a little bit of an uplift. If you get two or 3 bad episodes on the bounce, it'll just go off a cliff. I mean, it's a super short season. I think it's only 8 episodes. We used to get 11 to 13 episodes. They've only got to write 8, for crying out loud, and they can't manage that. So we shall see. I think they just said they'd finished filming season 2. So we're just going to get more of the same season 2. Because obviously, if anything, they'll probably quadruple down. And Doctor Who will be cancelled, and that would be really sad. But I think it's time to give that show a rest until all this political nonsense is gone, and people can just make entertaining shows about what they're meant to be about a crazy alien traveling through time and space, righting wrongs, science fiction. I just want a bit of science fiction in my science fiction. I know I said that the other week, but is that too much to ask? A bit of science fiction in my science fiction, rather than crying and talking about feelings and telling me what to think about everything. Clearly. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't think I had a lot else to talk about, really, other than obviously the box office continues to do badly. So Fall Guy hasn't done well, even though by all accounts, a pretty solid film. I still haven't got to see it, but I think it's already on video on demand in America. so we're probably not too far behind. It's still on at cinemas here at the moment. But yeah, reviews like, it does what it says on the tin. So it's a shame. Furiosa over bank holiday weekend's doing really badly. And again, I think even though the views I've seen, they've said she's not a girl boss, and she gets beaten up pretty badly and has a tough time of it. I think people just see it and go, ugh, female lead, you're all right, thanks. Unfortunately, but this is what they've done. This is what the industry's done. And it looks like the only thing that's doing quite well is Garfield. So go Chris Pratt. But it is half term here in the UK as well this week. So I'd imagine a family film like Garfield would do particularly well. But people just don't want to waste, like I say, people just don't want to waste their money going to the cinema anymore to be preached at. And anything that might look or have a hint of woke in it, people are just like, nah, you're right, thanks, I'm done. And I'm certainly not going to spend close to £100 taking my family to see something that's, just not very good, or just too preachy, too lectury, or it has politics in there or things in there that I don't want to discuss with my children at their age. And that's a parent's prerogative, absolutely. Doesn't make them homophobes or transphobes or anything else phobes. It's just like, shouldn't be having that conversation until at least they're like 11, 12 years old, not 6. But hey ho, that's up to parents. I am not one, so not for me to say. Anywho, yeah, I think that was it, guys. Just say a bit of musings, ramblings, burbling, whatever you want to frame it as. I'm just really looking forward to some good shows coming out, or even, just having some enjoyable TV to watch and chatting it through with you guys, reviewing it, getting your thoughts. It's definitely quite barren out there right now. Not a lot to talk about other than the politics playing out in Hollywood, and we're just watching it implode and go bankrupt. So we can all go, I told you so. But hey, good luck, Hollywood. You're going to need it. So anyway, enjoy your remainder of your bank holiday weekend or Memorial weekend, depending on where you are. Have a great week, and I'll be back again soon, hopefully next weekend. But don't know if there's going to be anything to chat about that I've watched, or it'll just be more of me burbling on. Don't know. But as always, do like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know if there's something worth watching out there. Happy to review and get back to you. Great to chat. Have a good one. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.